Did I give you one? Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order for November 9th, 2021. Please rise for a moment of silence. Please join in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call.
Trustee Sheets. Trustee Hunter.
Here.
Trustee Good.
We do not have anything to approve. So I will make a motion to pay our financial expenditures. Do I have a second? Second. Roll call.
Trustee Sheets.
Yes.
Trustee Hunter.
Yes.
Trustee Good.
And do we have visitors on WebEx?
Secretary Gill.
Probably have one Hannah. Right.
Yeah, Hannah is.
Hi, Hannah. And then our guest speakers, Nathan, Ralph, and Dave Reuter.
He's on.
Okay. You might get on. If you want to go ahead and review, Nathan. Hi, Nathan.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear
Good.
us?
I can. I can see you too.
We can't see you. Well, you have got the floor. If you introduce yourself.
Okay, well, so Dave's not here. Well, no, Dave's right there. There he is. He must have just got in. There's Dave.
Okay. We'll unmute Dave. All right.
You hear me?
Anything, Dave?
Are you hearing me okay?
Yes.
Sorry, I apologize. I haven't used WebEx for a little while, so I had some things to do there. Well, good
All right.
evening. I'll make this short. This is our annual MPDS update for everybody. We're making it around all the trustees in the county. Give them a little bit of update on the new permit, what's going on there. So we've just entered into a new 5-year stormwater permit for the county. No big changes there. A lot of the changes and additions to the permit were due to changes with the TMDLs and what's going on with the Great Lakes. The EPA needed to apply a lot of the language for pollutant loads into the general statewide permit as well. So long and short, there's a lot of language added to the permit regarding the TMDL loading data. Wherever you have impaired waters, they've updated language for that. And what that really comes down to, what it means for all of us is a lot more outreach directed at kind of that education on TMDLs and pollutant loads around the state. So we're doing that internally with a lot of our outreach. So if you guys get any outreach recommendations from us throughout the year, which we usually send out a schedule of topics that are coming up, and we ask that you try to use some of those, because that does address some of that education and outreach to the public that we're trying to do throughout the year. So feel free to use that. If you have any suggestions of things directly, feel free to come to us and talk to us about that, and we can get you some materials for your newsletters or outreach to your residents. Let's see, what else? We're coming into annual reporting time for the annual report to EPA. if you have items to finish up for the year and things like training for staff, you have that available to you online. I hope you've taken advantage of that and had gotten staff training underway. Facilities, any of your maintenance facilities, I'm telling everybody who's got a applicable maintenance facility to do your site inspections. We should be doing quarterly site inspections of your facilities. One of those should be a monitoring event after a storm event. Feel free to contact me if you have any questions on that. But we'll be looking for that kind of information coming up for the annual report for the county here to the EPA. Most of that information gathering will probably happen in January to February. We'll try to get the report together in March for middle April 1st. So that information will be coming up. I hope you participated in Stormwater Awareness Week. We've passed that already. Do take advantage of that at the year. We will hold that probably at the same time next year. It'll be that third week of October. And we try to get it's really our opportunity to have a cohesive message countywide and region-wide. Really, this has gone statewide now. We have a statewide website for Stormwater Awareness Week, and we're really pushing that to get that cohesive kind of messaging out there for the year. So take advantage of that when you can. I think that's all I've got. I'll leave it Nathan now. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So that was Dave Reuter with Soil and Water. My name's Nathan Ralph. I'm the Water Quality Section Supervisor for the Franklin County Health Department. As Dave mentioned, with the annual report to Ohio EPA, we do track and list any illicit discharges that occur to the MS4s or the storm sewers throughout the county. My program especially, we investigate sewage complaints or illicit discharges that are sewage based. So, if you hear from any residents in Pleasant Township about concerns that they have, or if they notice a specific area where there appears to be sewage coming into a storm drain, we would be more than happy to investigate and follow up. And then in turn, we report those to Ohio EPA as far as, the number that we received for the county, as well as the ones that we were able to mitigate over that course of time, and then anything that we have that we need to do for enforcement. So again, if somebody has concerns or questions, or they suspect that an illicit discharge is taking place, they can contact my office, and we would be more than happy to go out and investigate that particular issue. So I guess with that, I would leave it. Does anybody have any particular questions of either Dave or myself?
Are you permitted to go on someone's property to check that out?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have we have the ability to investigate such things on private property. Generally speaking, we're going to follow up and make contact with somebody. But yeah, we have the right of entry.
For instance, if we have someone telling us there's a house that with people living in it and they do not have any bathroom facilities in the house,
Mm-hmm.
can you investigate that?
Potentially, that would fall more under our housing section. My program, we permit and inspect and oversee, septic systems. But if somebody is suspecting something like that, my department could look into it. It's probably not going to be my people necessarily, but somebody from my office, sure.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I would think there'd probably be a zoning violation there too.
That
as
would
well,
that
if
would
that's-
certainly come
that's
into play.
problem.
Absolutely.
But if they can't go on the property to check it out, how do you find out? How do you check it?
We'd have to look into that.
Okay. we have gone that far with the property.
Okay, yeah, I mean, we, how can I say this? We do have the right of entry to investigate public health nuisances. Um, gaining access to a private residence can be somewhat more involved, but, we would at least try to make contact with the individuals. Again, there's different things that are coming into play here. My section doesn't necessarily enforce that somebody has to have restrooms inside of a home, if that makes any sense. We are involved when, somebody's looking to install a septic system or already has one, but there are housing regulations in place within our agency, as well as what Dave said. There are zoning things that would potentially be in play here. So I guess with all that being said, we would need to know where this is, but then we could go from there.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
Anything else? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
You're
much.
very welcome. All right. Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you for joining us tonight.
Absolutely. We'll see you later.
Good night.
Good night.
And Nancy, on that, any bathroom in a house or not, can you get like the building permit plans? That way, when you have to go to the house, if you get the building permit, their plans for a bathroom.
It's far more complicated than
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
you know, if you.
The building department
Yeah,
is
building
now.
department, plans. for the building. That's in respect.
it's building department.
Right.
So did zoning. So did the health department.
I mean, you know, I'm just saying, you know, if you get the plans to the place that you can see if they. without
That's
you
it.
having to go.
Yes, that's it. Thank you. Hey, anything else on that? Any other visitors? Mr. Goldhart, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Let's just give this something.
Okay. I think like Randy said, you have to be a panelist. All right, we will move on to our departments. On to the Sheriff's Department. Hi.
So last 2 weeks, there was 107 total calls to service. Those total calls, 18 reports were made, 1 arrest, and 7 tickets were issued. Out of those total calls, some of the bigger ones, you had 2 burglaries, 1 was an actual. So they have a suspect over. Should be understand. 5 disabled were traffic tech vehicles with blocking the road lane, that is responding to 3 OBIs. Made 11 traffic stops, 9 suspicious persons over vehicles responded to, 6 thefts, 3 were actual, 2 from motor vehicles. Same night. Just changed. Taken. Just from my vehicles that night. 16 accidents were responded to, and then 11 alarm drops, and then 2 stolen vehicles, but they were actually vehicles. So our trailers fall on our vehicles, there's 2 stolen trailers. One was recovered in Washington. Yeah, that's still out. When he backed into the house, it sounded like cameras he had.
Shady looking truck I was telling you about did not have license plate or front or the
All or the back,
or the
so the back they have to come down.
side. Here's a picture. It's not very big because it printed some. Yeah.
That works too. So, and then I see you guys had a few requests in stuff down here.
A request from a resident for the speed trailer,
Okay.
Bay Road. We'd asked for it once before and it never made it
Oh,
over
okay.
there. But, and now he's asked for it again because of the high volume of traffic, because of the,
Probably gonna be during
Work
rush
on-
hour, I think, or is it all it's gonna say?
there, apparently there's road work on 62
Yeah,
and they're cutting through there.
okay.
The semis, he said a lot of semis.
So it should be like 14 days, wasn't it? 14 days.
He said it'll be open by the time we get that. We still need the,
I'll stick it
That
out
over
there
there.
for a week, yeah, I can. It said high volume access.
yes, I had a call from a lady today,
Okay.
or an
Thank you.
email.
I can pull those and send those to, or ask Anna, I can get to Max Investigations guys, because they have all.
And then we have just continued people contact me about speeders on Reval Road and Broadway, especially around 3 a.m. and
Yeah,
4
and especially if they got a
30.
good truck description.
in the morning.
I'll
So
pass them on to the guys.
they said almost every morning they see them in and out.
Regal Road is not posted. Rob Roy is, it's 25 miles an hour. But Regal has never had speed limit signs. So I'll look up and maybe traffic control devices. You see what the recommendation is, like 30. It's give it stuff.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? Deputy Hamilton?
Thank you.
Move on to the road department. Robert?
We finished sealing the blacktop on the side lot, and then we had some left over and did the majority of the asphalt in front of the salt barn. We've been doing equipment maintenance, had one barrel.
Thank you for going out of your way to go help those people look at that. After I talked to you, I got to thinking, I bet you're already off the clock and you volunteered to go over and do that. Thank you. To the fire department. Lieutenant Johnson.
So run stats at 128 runs for October, which puts us at a total as of the 31st at 1,041 runs. So Chief's got that was a 2% increase from 2020, 4% from 19, and an 8% increase from 18. Engine 231 had its brake inspection completed, and it is good. It looks like it's going to need rear brakes. So we're going to look at that once the tanker's back. Tanker is at All-American. Took it over there on November 1st. So hopefully within the 4 to 6 weeks, we'll have that back. Prairie borrowed backup medic, which it's back. So they got their stuff situated. Hydrants have been pumped. So we'll do some checks here in the next few weeks, make sure those are all good. We completed hose testing. Pump testing for all the trucks is scheduled for November 12th. I think we got scheduled for the underbodies for all the trucks with in West Jeff. I think it's over at the ODOT facility. He's got that the engines and the medic, the grass truck will be done. All the crews went over the course of 3 days and participated in the training fire there, London Groupport and Zuber. We got some great training on that. Did the trick or treat events. We had some guys that finished up the NIMS courses, which are what's required for incident command stuff. We purchased the trailer for the UTV. Southern Ohio Equipment. Cost was $2,075.80. That's the best quote that we got. Right now, the UTV is in the hands of firefighter Price, which he's doing the tires, wheels, lighting, lift kit. And then we're gonna go ahead and have him paint it. That wasn't in the budget, so that's coming out of my pocket. That in service shortly after it comes back.
Not a whose pocket.
My pocket. It wasn't planned for, and I just can't settle with it being green. So Price is gonna paint it. I'm gonna buy the paint. So.
Well, thank you. You certainly don't have to do that, but if you want to donate that,
So
I don't blame you. I think red
it's got to be red.
is should
So,
be red.
okay, he's got a request for a resolution to adjust the hire date of Harvey Price from April 8th, 2015 to April 15th, 2007. That's for his vacation at Pearl, which he moved over from Hearst when he was a dispatcher. And after legal, that is persistent with what Ohio law says.
We all in agreement to that. And Paula, you checked,
I looked, and as close as I could come to you're right on the numbers.
still go with that then. I will make resolution 75 to adjust the hire date for Harvey Price from April the 8th, 2015, adjusted to August 15th, 2007. Purpose of vacation accrual due to the moving of his PRS retirement to Ohio Police and Fire, which is consistent with Ohio law. Do I have a second? Roll call.
Trustee Sheets, trustee Hunter,
Yes.
trustee Good.
Have any
Thank
questions?
you. Smart. Thank you. Okay, under old business, because I had the same complaint about chickens, which it's been months ago that code enforcement went out. They said they couldn't see behind the house. So I emailed this person back and said if they can go on your property and look. But I also gave him the information, so he may have called them and so. But I also listed here, so it was readily available for us. In Rolling Hills, if they do not have any other ducks or rabbits, they're allowed to have 4 chickens. And they cannot have a rooster. Under 5 acres. But on half-acre lot, have 4, a mixture of 4 of those things. Chicken, ducks, or rabbits. That's it. And there's also restrictions, how close it can be to the fence, etc. The Ohio revised or the zoning resolutions can be accessed on the web through Franklin County Economic Development. You can access those code regulations. Anybody else have any business? How about new business? Paula?
Okay, there was an incident with, payroll. I had received what I thought was a request to change banking information from an employee. I made the change, but fortunately, and it turned out it was not the employee, but the bank and, ADP has a thing where, they delay transferring money to any new account, and they do paper checks. So it was hot in time. So to add an extra layer from now on, any request needs to be done hard paper and put in the mailbox as opposed to sending it to me over the internet. That way, hopefully, between the two security measures, that will not happen again.
You emailed and included chief on that,
Yes.
so he can pass it on. Did you email once?
Yeah, and I just sent it out this evening. So I just saw it. Okay.
All right.
Okay. I gave you a copy of, there was, from the county health department, on a property. I gave you copies of that complaint. I received some flyers from, Healthiest You that, I will make copies and so the employees can have a copy of that. Franklin County, Health Department sent out updates on COVID. Tech Review Committee from the county had a meeting, well, it was canceled, the October 26th meeting. Sorry, the writing is so small. November 9th, Franklin County Commissioners has a rezoning hearing that was canceled. Some more information from on the wellness program. Updated list from Burnham and Flower on contact information, information from worker comp on hearings for an injured worker. A flyer from Ohio Bureau Workers Comp on, they have a November BWC employer update webinar. Information from worker comp on estimated annual premium for next year. We received an email from a resident concerned about local things, and I did see Nancy, your email where you've taken care of that. Board of Zoning Appeals has a meeting scheduled for November the 15th. Several emails from OTARMA 2021 one-day workshop, November newsletter, Ohio Township Association weekly legislative alert and information. Another legislative update alerts. OTARMA visit recording in the resource library for training for dispatch. An email from the county auditor's office, their October community update. Several emails from SWACO Media Advisory that on November 6th, they held a collection and recycling event for election yard signs. SWACO sent out information for grant information. An email from SWACO November 15th is America Recycle Day. Another email from SWACO that they're having a webinar to learn about 6 Ohio communities reducing recycling contamination. An email from, it was from Sedgwick, but it's Ohio BWC Learning Center courses and webinars available. Some information from PRS on live webinars. Ohio Police and Fire completing payroll process correctly. Mid-Ohio Regional Planning Commission. Join Morrison and Partners as they discuss rural broadband. Newsletter from Ohio Community Wildlife Cooperative Virtual Conference. The State Township newsletter and the State Township magazine. And I'd received information, and I think I copied you guys in an email, a representative from worker comp that apparently we should have been turning in reports for injuries. And that's beyond worker comp claim injuries. So that's something that we'll need to start implementing. And we need to do the past 5-year reports. And I told him that pretty much the only information we probably have at this point after the fact is whatever worker comp claims that we did have. So I'll fill out that report and send it in next week. But that's something we're going to have to start keeping track of.
You could.
You're right.
We are too. I've got the information.
Injured.
Okay.
And he did give me a link to just a couple of things that can get posted on job safety and health. It's the law, things, and I'll get back to the department. And I think that's everything I have.
How about the additional workers' comp savings available that
Oh, that's where
weeks to?
tip, we pay our premium all at once, and we've done that the last several years.
Thank you. So we're to our speakers sheets. Do you have anything?
I have nothing, Miss McGee.
All right, well, thank you for coming.
I've got it. Yeah, the property across the street from me, where the gentleman tried to build a house and put us everything in. And he got derailed. I was wondering if I bought that property, if I put like a small Connex box into it for something.
Helping across from Sarah's or for the.
Further down where I'm at.
Where they were starting to clean it up.
Yeah, where they're cleaning the house up.
That's gonna be up to building zoning.
Yeah, I'm just curious, because I mean, it's not gonna get houses, it's not gonna get trailers, camper, anything like that. I don't have a basement. And it'd be like 50 feet across the street, or 50 feet from my door to a storm sewer, or storm shelter. Or it's 150 feet to my neighbors across the street if they're home. Around 300 feet to the other neighbor's house.
Before I would make a purchase, I would contact
Yeah,
building department and zoning just to make sure any
yeah,
plans you would have to
right.
before you make a purchase.
Well, like that guy did.
So they're doing more plans.
That thing's in a big for sale.
What they go fast, not that.
Yeah, he's at a for sale, somebody like that. They keep saying it's the vacant lot beside of it. And I keep telling people, no, it's the wood lot. Oh, we must put trailer grass, you can't build one. Can you put trailer? I didn't know if that as a storm shelter, it could be a different.
I would call zoning or the building department or both,
Okay,
or email them and then you have it in.
yeah. Email.
Anything else? Sir, do you have anything?
I was just told to talk to you after the meeting. I've got a couple of questions about township history. You know, I've been out driving around exploring and they said, you know a lot about early township stuff.
Well, if you would like to ask that now,
Oh, well,
while we have other people
okay,
here.
well,
you
I
might
got
get-
my photograph. One of the things I noticed is on 665, just east of Graysley, there's two big stone things, and one of them says Al Taylor in it. And I was just curious as if, you know, it looks like it used to be a road or a driveway, and I'm just wondering what that used to be. You know, I've gone there and taken some photos and walked around, but you know, there's nothing there anymore, but it looks like at one time there was a road or a driveway in between each one. I'm just curious what that was. And they said, maybe you might know, or
Yeah, Al Taylor, there used to be a house back.
there was a house.
Yes. His grandson I used to work with was this Pete Taylor, and he works for Bob Webb Builders.
Oh, okay.
So Bob Webb's built a house up here. I don't know if he still does or not. He's probably retired. But yeah, it was Al Taylor, and that was
So that was his driveway? And where was the house? Was it on the other side of that little creek or? Because I didn't see like a bridge or anything.
Because Pete Taylor wanted me to go stack that concrete, they said, Al, do that as a grandfather. I don't know about that.
But just, I've been out, I'm retired now, so I try to go out and explore a couple days a week. And that's one of the interesting things I saw. And then I've got an old Franklin County map from 1944, and it shows that Graisley used to go north of 665, and there was a couple of streets. But the map doesn't give it a town name or have any name for the streets. I was just curious as to what that might have been. Because then on my next map is like 72, and it's gone. And, I've asked the Metro Park about it, but, they don't really know anything about it. But it shows there was, it went up like 2 blocks, and then there were 2 little streets, like between, I guess, where that Hunter's parking lot is now, and where Graisley used to go across. And I was just curious if anybody knew what that was, because I've looked on my map, but it doesn't really have a name for the 2 or 3 streets that were back there. And I'm assuming at one time there must have been houses there. But I didn't know if there was still anything like if I went walking in the woods, if I would find foundations or if the street might still be visible. There's something. And then also the third thing is Pennsylvania Cemetery. How did that get its name? Were the original people from Pennsylvania, maybe? Because I found out by accident one day and I went up there and took photos. And I think it was Steve Campbell said it's called Pennsylvania Cemetery, but he didn't know where the name came from either. And I was just curious.
I think it's the main church.
There used to be a church there? Oh, okay. Yeah, because, I just happened to drive by and said, oh, there's a cemetery back there. So I parked there, a little dead end driveway and then walked up and took some photos. But, normally there's a sign saying what the place is called and when it was started. I just thought, that was kind of interesting. But they thought that, maybe you would know more about it than anybody else. But like the park rangers, they get moved around a lot, so they didn't know anything about it either. I asked them.
I think, did not just put something on, it was my personal Facebook page about that cemetery.
Yeah.
It was under, yeah, it was, I think under, there was a whole page all about it.
Oh, okay.
Under Ohio, Central Ohio, maybe
Central
Central
Ohio.
Haunted Ohio.
Haunted Ohio.
Because it's also called Woolly Burger Cemetery.
Yeah, that's what Steve was telling me. He says that it used to have trouble with kids going there around Halloween and trying to do occult things and stuff like that
I would.
back in the 80s or 90s.
Walk in there. I've heard too many stories.
Yeah, but I just went
As a
there
little
during the
kid.
day and it looked safe, but
I'm a chicken.
I just thought it was interesting, But none of the park rangers know anything about it when I asked them, but I guess because they move around quite a bit and they're a lot younger.
If you look on that website, they
Haunted
tell
Ohio.
a lot about it.
Oh, okay. I just thought that was, kind of an interesting thing to see. Because like I was telling Steve, there's also one called Hart Cemetery in Hilliard. It's in the middle of an industrial park with trucks and trailers parked all around it. And I happened to find that on the current county map, but it wasn't on a road. And then somebody said, oh, that's called Hart Cemetery. Then I looked that up and said, oh, okay, that used to be, I guess, farmland. It's like an industrial now.
We have a total of how many cemeteries?
So there were 4. Because I know of Oak Grove, and then the one like across from Oakhurst, and then the Pennsylvania, and then you said there's one on Johnson Road near the Rotary. Ebenezer. Now, is that when I go to the Rotary, do I go back towards Darby Creek or do I go the other direction? Go to the west? Okay, so I might have to check that out. Yeah, so sometimes it was interesting to see those old tombstones and some of the names and the dates, and I didn't know about that one. But
The fifth one, I believe, you have to go across
You have to get the.
private property into.
Oh,
It has a lot of Civil War
it does.
buried there.
Should I ask somebody like if I can walk back there, or is there a path or?
They're pretty nice people, so if we passed that with you wanted to just, that's what we walk up there.
Okay. It's called Ebenezer.
That one's called Chatwood.
Oh, China.
Ebenezer, you could just stop.
Now that's on Johnson Road also? Okay.
And Gundy.
I just like to get out and explore and, I never know what I'm gonna find. Sometimes I find covered bridges, sometimes I find old cemeteries. Sometimes I'll see a nice statue in the center of town. It's just kind of fun to get out. But I came by here earlier today and they said, oh, come back after 5 and talk to Steve. And then when I talked to Steve, he says, well, talk to Miss Hunter. She knows a lot about the history of the township too. I said, well, I'm trying to come back tonight, which I did.
Maybe Georgesville.
Yeah.
And we're like spread out throughout the township. So you're a corner of the township. You know all about that.
Yeah. He also told me, when you mentioned Georgesville, I guess Bigger Road, according to this 1944 map, used to cross the creek twice and then end up to hook up with, I think Georgesville, Wrightsville Road or something. And he said if you park at the dead end, you can still see the old roadway. So I might try to do that sometime this week to see what's there. Because on the map, it shows it like as a gravel or a dirt road back in the 40s. So he said, yeah, if you know where to look, you can still kind of see the old roadway stuff out of it. But he said to wear bright colors because it's hunting season. I said, I don't need to get shot. You know, yeah, have someone think I'm a deer.
Or you might be disturbing them and they just.
Yeah. That's why I always like to ask before I just go out wandering somewhere. You never know what's private property and what isn't. Makes somebody mad.
Now, I don't know how true it is, but Pennsylvania cemetery got its nickname of Lordberg because wasn't there a butcher that lived there and he killed his family or something?
What was his last name?
Yeah, that was his last name up there.
Yeah.
Don't know that. Oh.
Yeah. And is it still an active cemetery? Because I noticed, like, I think the latest date on there was like maybe in the 1980s. I don't remember.
We've had two recent cremations.
Oh, okay.
Probably 30 or so years ago.
There's a great Finder website that's got a lot of information about that cemetery on it, and you can see lots of pictures of who's buried there, and the it's got all the dates and all that. Is it gravefinder.com?
Yeah, I think I've heard of it. Yeah.
So you can find a whole lot of information on there.
Okay. Just interesting, you know, it's like in the middle of nowhere, you know.
It was popular for years and years. When I was a kid, everybody talked about it.
No,
Me too.
it's, I've lived in Columbus since 73, but I live over by Big Run Park. And, you know, I'm kind of familiar with some of the areas around here, but now that I'm retired, I've been, a few days ago, I drove to Kioskville because I saw it, that was on my old map. I said, let me just see what's there. And I saw a little town called Big Plains. So that was kind of interesting, just see what's out there in some of those other places.
Our stomping grounds.
Yeah. But at least now I kind of have a little better idea what some of that stuff is. Make sure I wear some bright colored clothes and go out hiking.
Or wait till after hunting season.
Wait until I.
Yeah, when's the season over?
Yeah.
That might even be better because then a lot of the leaves be gone. It'll be a lot easier to see through the trees.
Thank you for your interest.
Oh, yeah, thanks. Yeah, I've been traveling all around Ohio and never know what I'm gonna find something interesting. Like I was up in Oberlin a couple weeks ago at the college, and they were stuck on the Underground Railroad. They have an outdoor artwork, which is train tracks coming up out of the ground. I thought, that's kind of neat. I'd never been to that before. It's real tracks coming right out of the ground, and it's some kind of public artwork. That's kind of fun to see.
There's another hidden cemetery on 23. You know where Southern Base Park is?
Yeah, Lockwood Road.
Yeah.
That's on the railroad.
But it's on the east side of 23, like it's across the street from Southern, the tree, and it's in the woods there. Still across it.
And then I know if you cross into Pickaway County, on Pickaway Road, there's something I think it's called the Cholera Cemetery. We just happened to find that. It only has like 7 or 8 graves. I'm sure at one time there were more. They had a special cemetery just for cholera victims. It's kind of an
Just
interesting
listen
thing.
to Swain's family was most of them, so.
Oh, yeah, it's where the bigger place is now. just, kind of fun to get out and have a little road out that shows where covered bridge before. Sometimes I get there and it's gone. And luckily there was a man at one place says, oh yeah, that washed away about 7 or 8 years ago. So he knew where it was. So, but other times the bridge is still there. It's interesting to get out and explore.
Formerly it was called Covered Bridge. It's called Covered Bridge.
Thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
No one has anything else? What about our letter from the union? Did we discuss that? Are you okay with?
It was like 3. I don't.
Well, there remains.
So
Where do you think I said with the road?
you don't have that.
We see it.
Should we have? Should we be meeting? Send us. Okay. Yeah, that means that. Yes, that.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's an old bridge near, Harrison on 762. Going over there.
Yeah. Well, I guess we just was a snap. Great. Okay. I guess we can. Ready to adjourn? I will make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? Roll call?
Trustee Sheets.
Yes.
Trustee Hunter.
Yes.
Trustee Good.
Adjourn at. There's a glare on the clock. I can't see it. 7:48. 7:48.
I'm sorry. Can you give me a copy of the case report?
Yes, I will.
Appreciate it.
Oh,
All right, thank you.
I'm sure, I think he printed it, he's probably got a copy.
Probably.
And it was something.
Thank you.
Wood,